I'm using two screens, so I had to bring up the mixer. You have the same things in Ableton. When you open the kind of mixer in Ableton, then you have also those faders, obviously, and you have two numbers. One is the actual amplitude in relation to the digital full scale. That's a point, 0 decibel FS it's called, and everything which goes beyond this point will cause digital distortion. So that's the reason why we always have to keep a lot of headroom, possibly, yeah, up to 10 decibel headroom on the sum or more. Yeah, you have two different parameters. One is the actual amplitude that is in relation to actual facts, which gives you, yeah, a number, how loud the loudest amplitude towards 0 is. And the other one is just a fader setting. And this one is relative, because if you have a signal with low amplitude, the fader setting is different. So those numbers are less important than those small numbers. When you click them, you see a number. So here we have minus 12.8 on the kick and minus 13.1 on the bass. Let's make it a little bit easier for now. That would be totally legit. Would be perfectly adjusted, because the kick is the loudest and then the bass line is just behind it, just a couple of point decibel numbers behind it, a little bit less volume. But to make it more easy to understand how the proportions of a mix work, we make it to minus 10 now, so that this small number goes on minus 10. And this one minus 10 or slightly more than minus 10. So minus 10.3 would be alright. Minus 10 possibly would be alright, but yeah, it would peak as soon as you have a key change. So the bass line is allowed to be a little bit less than the kick. Now, since we have set this point, minus 10 decibel is the loudest point in our mix. We know now that nothing will go louder than that. In many mixes from beginner, you see something like the leads are louder than the bass line. That's not possible. Also, rhythmics like hi-hats or anything like that, you immediately have an idea where to place them in the mix. If I have my kick and bass line on minus 10 decibel FS, that would mean that I have my hi-hats maybe at minus 17, minus 19, minus 20. So a good portion lower in amplitude, because the human brain works like this. Lower frequencies get perceived less loud than higher frequencies. So the higher the frequency, the lesser the amplitude. If I have a mid, for example, like a lead or something like that, that should be relatively present, but still is not super low, it's a lead sound. So where would that go? That would go maybe to minus 12 or minus 13 decibel FS from this small number. So if I put a lead here now, I will do it in a bit, but yeah, that gives you a whole idea. And that's consciousness about what you are doing is very important. First of all, we made two very important formal decisions about the track. Before we even started the creative process, we already decided a scale, which in this case is A minor, which gives us a whole set of new information how we start. And then, what's the second thing? I lost it here, but yeah, and where to put the kick, so where how to arrange the mix and where to put all the elements that follow. So if I put in a snare, I immediately know where to put it, and so forth. That's relatively important. So let's go on with the kick and bass line.